Alright, in this video we're going to go through both the unit resources and the assessment items for this unit. And as you can see, let's start with the text, which is International Business Competing in the Global Marketplace by Hill and Holt. Now there are many different versions of this book. People ask every semester, do you need the latest version, which is the 11th, which is that which we currently use. I strongly recommend, wherever possible, gaining access to a copy of that latest edition. We do provide a link to purchase an e-copy, which is cheaper and means you don't have to lug around a heavy textbook all through the semester. So one way or the other I strongly recommend it. Another way is to potentially share the purchase cost between a number of students, because what I can guarantee is that you will need a copy of the text in your workshops, as much of the activities, the weekly activities, are based around that textbook. If you have an older edition, it's probably going to be okay for much of the content, but some of the activities and cases and so on may differ. So it's ultimately your responsibility to make sure that you're able to access those latest activities and cases. We also offer a reading list, which is a great thing for you guys, not only because it provides a number of additional resources that you can use and learn about each of the week's topics, but it also provides a useful tool when completing your assignments. As we'll talk about in more detail in the workshops, there is a minimum requirement in terms of the number of academic journal sources that you will require for each of the different assessments, and we actually provide a number of these for you as part of that reading list. So being able to access that and keep up to date is going to be crucial, not just to learning the topics but also to doing well in your assignments. In terms of the minimum expectation, you need to be viewing the online content and reading those relevant chapters in particular, as well as some of the additional readings in the reading list each week prior to the workshop. We don't usually have homework as such from week to week, but we do require that you keep up to date with the content. The reason we say this is because students do fail every single semester because they just don't keep up to date. And what we tend to find is that once you fall behind, it's not the type of unit where it's easy to cram. A lot of the content is quite dense, and while not overly complicated, just being able to, having to catch up is something that we've found a lot of students have struggled with in the past. So maintaining that up-to-date knowledge of the content becomes crucial in this unit. All of the readings that we've chosen for you have been specifically selected for each week's topic and can be used as source material for your assessment tasks, as I mentioned. So the better you understand these readings, the more you'll get out of the unit overall, and the easier it's going to be to actually complete your assessments and in fact do well on them. Speaking of which, we do have a number of assessments that we need you guys to complete as part of this unit. The first, as you can see, is an in-class test, which is held in the workshops of week 4. So in class, you need to be attending that class as well as all the others, of course, and is worth 10%. It's based around 10 multiple choice questions, and you're given 20 minutes to complete it. So fairly straightforward there. The second piece of assessment is a group presentation, which is worth 25%. It's to be 20 minutes long, and the groups for this particular presentation will be assigned in the week 2 workshop. So if you don't have a group by week 3, if you've missed the first few weeks, you need to contact your workshop facilitator to let them know. Otherwise, there is a chance you will receive a mark of 0 for this assessment if you cannot be allocated to a group. Reference list and other material used for the presentation, typically in the form of PowerPoint slides, need to be submitted to your facilitator on the day of the presentation immediately before you begin. Now, I know a lot of people, they see presentations and they worry that they're going to end up like this. Trust me, we are here to help, especially we understand this is a second year unit. We want to prepare you to be excellent presenters by the time you finish here at Monash. So we will guide you as best we can and certainly provide constructive feedback and help you along the presentation process. So don't stress too much with that one. The third piece of assessment is the presentation peer assessment. So very much aligned with the peer presentation, worth 10%. So what happens here is every week that there is a presentation, which incidentally are held from weeks 5 to 7 and then 9 to 11, all the non-presenting groups will be providing peer feedback for the presenting group of that week. So you need to submit an anonymous peer assessment of their presentation, and it is worth 2 marks for each of the 5 weeks that your group will not be presenting. So obviously this means that you're actually losing up to 2 marks for any week that you do not attend between weeks 5 and 7 and 9 to 11. So again, another reason why it's crucial to be actually attending your workshops in that time. The 4th assessment is the second in-class test, this time held in week 8 and worth 15%. There are 15 multiple choice questions for this quiz, and you are given 30 minutes to complete it. Finally, we have the big one, the individual report, which is worth 40% of your mark for this unit. It's due on Sunday the 21st of October at midnight, so it needs to be submitted before the end of that Sunday, which is the Sunday of week 12. So you literally have the entire semester to complete it. It's a 2,400 word report based around 3 questions which are outlined in your unit guide and which we'll discuss a lot throughout the semester. It is to be submitted in a report format. If you're unfamiliar with that, we again will guide you through that in the semester. And there is a hurdle requirement here. What you need to achieve is at least 40% of your report in order to be eligible to pass the unit. If you don't get a mark of 40 or above on your report, you cannot pass the unit. In the following videos, we're going to go through the first week's topic, which surrounds international business in general and that key issue of globalization.